we have to cross that thing? Hey guys, I hate to be that guy, but can we speed it up a little bit? I'm late to post the video. Shit. Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another checklist vlog. This week we are going to check out some of the Stand By Me filming locations in Oregon. Let's go check them out. So our first location for this week's checklist is the whole town of Brownsville. I mean, this place is awesome. As soon as you roll into town, you are in the movie. You're crossing the bridge that Chris, Gordy, Teddy, Vern, they all walked across at the end of the movie right here in this shot. Okay, you guys, so before we crossed over the bridge and made our way into town, I threw my drone up and tried to match this shot as best as possible. This is the scene where Billy is telling Eyeball Chambers about the location of Ray Brower's body. I know it's a little bit off, but I tried my best to get as close as possible. I mean, it's so wild to be in this town, and the locations have stayed pretty much exactly the same as they were when they would have been shooting the movie. So moving a little bit further up the street, across the bridge. Now, a really interesting little thing about this wall right here is in this shot right here, you can actually see this Coke sign, and it's still here. A little piece of movie history that's embedded in this wall, hopefully forever. And a cool fact about the Coke sign that's on the wall here, that was actually painted for production. They talk about it in this commentary. I'll throw a piece of it right here.
When I went up to Eugene and then to Brownsville a few years ago, a lot of the locations are preserved, right? Like that sign that we painted on the wall for Coca-Cola is still there.
Yeah. Pretty interesting, and I love how the town has kept this piece of film history as a part of their town, and for the huge fans of Stand By Me. So right here behind me is where Chris hops off the truck and meets Gordy as they run to the back of the diner. You can tell by these two buildings right here behind me. I'll throw up a picture. But you can see this telephone pole right here in this shot.
Hey man, you want to see something?
As well as the two buildings right behind it, obviously, but I'll throw it up here.
What? You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Come on, man. What is it?
Alright, you guys, so we are in the alleyway where Chris and Gordy fire off the gun, not believing that it's loaded. We are showing up right to the location. It's right here behind me. Right here is where Chris and Gordy would have been standing as Gordy fired the gun. And they both screamed and ran off. Looks like from right about here, that's where they would have been standing. I'll show you the shot. But you can see by these two rectangles on the wall that there used to be windows there. I'll throw up the shot again and point out the windows to you. Now, another really cool display of not only how this town preserves its history, but also its film history, is this door right here. You can see it behind Chris and Gordy's head while they're firing off the gun behind the Blue Point Diner. I don't know for sure if this is the original door, but in the 25th anniversary commentary, you can hear Will Wheaton talking about it right here.
But the door is still there. I just remember walking through there, and you know, I'm sort of having this massive nostalgia quake in my head, and my wife and my kids are like, can we leave?
It's pretty awesome that Will Wheaton also loves the fact that this town is preserving this film history. I love it. So right behind me here is where after Chris and Gordy fire off the gun, they get scared, they run away, and they run right around this corner.
Oh man, you should have seen your face. Damn, that was cool. That was really fine.
You know it was loaded, you wet end! I'm gonna be in trouble now. That Tupper babe saw me.
Shit, Gordy, she thought it was firecrackers.
So after the last shot where they're running up the sidewalk, you can see them pass right by this pool hall, and this is where we get introduced to Kiefer Sutherland as Ace and Eyeball Chambers. Now right here is where Ace steals Gordy's hat.
Hey, come on, man, my brother gave me that.
And now you're giving it to me.
Give it to me! Come on, man!
an eyeball stands right here and watches.
Now, Christopher, I know you didn't mean to insult my friend.
And this right here would have been where Chris Chambers was slammed down by Ace, or River Phoenix was slammed down to the ground by Kiefer Sutherland.
There. I feel a whole lot better about this.
This right here would have been where Chris and Gordy were standing. And at the end of the altercation, they would have been walking right down this road here.
Come on. See you later, girls.
Now, at the beginning of the movie, you can see Gordy walking down this sidewalk with a really cool brown truck right here. And you can also see this building as he walks across the street and down this road. And you can see this little building with kind of a steeple on it here in the back. You can see it in this shot right here.
Rock. There were only 1,281 people, but to me, it was the whole world.
Hey, it's the boss man, Bob Cormier here. It's a beautiful Friday morning in Portland. It's 90 KLAM degrees and getting hotter.
So after looking at some of the locations, we decided to go check out the Brownsville Museum, and this place is amazing. Not only do they have a ton of history on the town itself, but they have an awesome display about Stand By Me with some of the screen used props, and they also have the newspaper clippings and some behind the scenes photos of what it would have been like to be on set at that time, which is super awesome to look at. I love it. Alright you guys, after going through the Brownsville Museum, which is an absolute must if you come here, it's amazing, I'm walking up to the crosswalk where the group says goodbye and Vern finds a penny. Now, at the end of the film, our characters walk back to Brownsville, or Castle Rock in the movie, and they walk past City Hall and they stop at the crosswalk. Now, as all the characters are saying goodbye, Vern leaves first and he crosses the road, but of course he finds a penny. Now, what's really cool about the town is they actually have a penny embedded right where Vern found it in the crosswalk. So if there's no cars, you can run out there quick, check it out. I took a picture, I'll throw it up right here. But just another little piece that shows you how much this town respects this movie and loves the fact that they are a part of this history, and I love this town for embracing it. Now, the next part of the shot is we see Corey Feldman as Teddy go his separate way up to his home, and that's right here on this road. You can see this house behind his head. That is Teddy's house in the film, and you can watch him walk up to it, and it's still the same, just a different coat of paint, but super awesome. It makes you feel like you're right in the movie. It's the same effect that the Goonies locations had. So the thing I love about the state of Oregon is that at every location that a film was shot in the state, they have plaques telling you about the production. So in Brownsville, they have plaques labeled Stand By Me, telling you little facts about the production of the film, which is super awesome. But in the last video we did on the Goonies, which if you haven't seen it, I'll throw it up here, they also have those outside of the jail. And in the next video, I don't want to give it away, there's also a plaque telling us facts about that film, which you'll see next week. But what an awesome way to give people little behind the scenes knowledge while they're checking out their favorite movie locations. So this is where Chris and Gordy are walking back up to the treehouse, and they're walking through the town as Gordy, well, Richard Dreyfuss as Gordy is kind of describing what has happened to our heroes throughout the future. This shot right here. Now, as you can see, a lot on this road has stayed the same pretty much. You can see some of the same signs are still standing, even if some of them have been changed or just kind of been painted over, but you still get the same feeling that you did when you watched the movie. So unfortunately our time in Brownsville had come to an end, which I was super bummed about, but we headed down to Cottage Grove, Oregon, and this place is steeped in film history. This is actually where Buster Keaton came and filmed The General back in the day. But let's get back to Stand By Me. So the location that we went to is now a walking trail, but when the film was in production, it was a train track that was out of use. So they filmed Stand By Me, and then they tore up the tracks, and now it's a hiking trail that you can walk or bike or I believe even ride horses along. Now this shot right here with the whole gang would have been shot right here. You can see the mountain range in the background that once would have been clear, but after 40 years of tree growth, it kind of gets covered up by some of the trees.
There's no way that sucks.
Why not? We could go out to Route 7 to the Charlotte Church, then down the back Carlo Road. We'll be there by Sunday.
I can't tell you guys how cool it is to actually be walking down the tracks that were used in Stand By Me. 12-year-old me would frickin' lose his mind. 23-year-old me is losing his mind. Okay, so we have made it to what seems to be the location of where the group sits down. They start to divvy out change to try and buy some food, and also where Teddy tries to do the train dodge. Okay, so right behind me, right here on the same trail, is where they would have sat down and divvied up their change so that they could get some food from the store. And of course, 7 cents Vern. But you can see a building in the distance, I believe. I might throw on a different lens, give you guys a little bit of a zoom, but this building is right behind Vern's head as they sit down. I'll throw up the video right here.
I think we can get some stuff there.
Now, right behind me is where the train would have been coming, and where I'm standing would have been right where Corey Feldman or Teddy Duchamp would have been standing. Now, as Teddy was standing up on the train tracks, the whole crew would have been standing right down here. Now the fence has changed, but the metal posts still remain. And right here you can see this is where Teddy would have been standing. You can tell right here there's a diagonal piece of wood in the fence, and that is a true indicator throughout these scenes. So right here behind me is the mountain range that you can see in this shot right here. So right here behind me, the landscape has completely changed with all these trees, but this shot right here is one of the most famous in the movie. This is where they sing,
Gun will travel reads the card of a man, a knight without armor in a savage land. His fast gun for hire heaps the calling wind. A soldier of fortune is a man called Paladin.
So you flip the camera around, and as you can see in the distance here, there's actually houses all along a road here. You flip the camera around, and it makes you feel like you're thousands of miles away. But really, you're right here in the middle of town.
Come on, Teddy.
So when I started telling people that I was doing Stand By Me for a checklist vlog, it's funny how many people had different favorite quotes from this film, but I think the one that was the most common was from the Junkyard scene, and that's our next location. But the famous quote,
Sick 'em, boy!
Now he said sick 'em boy, but what I heard was chopper sick balls.
but I think of another quote, and it's when Teddy and the junkyard owner are in an argument, and it's a little bit vulgar, but I'll show you what it is.
I'm gonna rip your head off and shut down your neck! No! I'm gonna kill him!
Now, what's pretty funny is after watching the 25th anniversary commentary, that line, I'll rip your head off and shit down your neck, actually came from a Dan Aykroyd line from Dr. Detroit. And that movie was from 1983. I'll throw the scene up right here.
I actually stole from Dan Aykroyd, I have to be honest.
You rip your head off and shit down your neck?
Yeah, that was from a movie he did called Dr. Detroit.
You don't know what trouble is, jerk-off. Mom, I am going to rip off your head and shit down your neck.
Now, of course, we get the credit because people didn't see Dr. Detroit, right?
It's a crime that no one ever saw Dr. Detroit.
But pretty interesting little movie connection there. Rad. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get into the junkyard. It's privately owned, but we just stopped outside for a quick second.
Stand back, men! Parachute! Over the side!
No trespassing was enforced by Milo Pressman, the junkman, and his dog Chopper.
You're a dead man, LeChance! It looks like LeChance has got him this time. He's got Chambers beat. But what's this? Chambers is making it move. LeChance is waiting on it. Chambers at the tape. The crowd goes wild.
And then headed on our way down to Bernie, California. Alright you guys, so right behind me, right here, is the bridge from Stand By Me that the guys run across when the train's coming. To be at this bridge is unbelievable. Alright you guys, so as you can see behind me, barbed wire, fencing. The Stand By Me bridge is closed off. You can't walk across it, but I think I'm going to throw up the drone, try to get some of the shots from the movie, go check out the other side, and also try to help Vern find his comb. You know, he was just bringing it for those guys.
Did you think of everything? I brought the comb. Oh, great, you brought the comb. What do you need a comb for? You don't even have any hair. I brought it for you guys. Hey. Let's see how much money we got.
This location has been on my bucket list since the dawn of time, I'm pretty sure. And to go here was unbelievable. I think, like, I know I say it consistently in videos where it's always magical standing in your favorite movie or where one of your favorite actors were or musicians, but this one was just otherworldly for me because I love this movie so much. If you rewatch the movie back, you can see the strategic cuts and the strategic camera position done to hide the bridge behind this bridge, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, in the movie it looked so far out from civilization, but actually right behind it is another bridge just for cars. I think it just goes to show that not only is this a really great film for its acting, but it's also just a great film for its production. Everything was thought out, whether it be music, whether it be shot lists, or anything like that. It's just such a well done film. I love it so much. Alright you guys, I know how important the treehouse is to this film, but unfortunately we weren't able to get to that location as it is on private property. But let's get into our movie for this week. Let's check it out. Alright you guys, so our movie for this week is The Godfather, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starring Marlon Brando and Al Pacino. This film is a masterpiece. If you haven't seen it for a while, go check it out, and if you haven't seen it, it's a must if you're a film fan. But I will add, there's a new show that came out on Paramount Plus. It's called The Offer. It stars Miles Teller as the producer of the film The Godfather. Amazing show. If you guys love movies and are interested in how films are made, this is the show for you. Trust me, it's unbelievable. But let's see what's under this thing.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Well, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. As per usual, go out, have yourself a fantastic week, and I'll meet up with you in the next vid. Peace!
If I can only have one food for the rest of my life, that's easy. Pez. Cherry flavored Pez. No question about it.